The Tennessee Titans have 7 draft picks in the 2024 draft. What should we do with them? What positions should we go after them? We're going to bring it to you right now. Welcome back to another Titans Bros video. As I said before, we're finally tackling the draft. Now that we're less than 2 weeks away from the draft, it's probably time we talk about the draft a little bit.
I agree.
Okay. This happens at the beginning of every video where I'm like, I'm talking a whole bunch. I need to give him a moment, like his time to say something, and you'd be like, yeah.
I never know when to expect you to throw it at me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I should come up with some hand motion or something so that way, I'm throwing it over to you. But yeah. So that was what we're gonna do. We're not going over specific players necessarily. That we'll do next week is basically put together who we want. Probably mostly like the first and second, maybe even third round. We don't have a third round because we haven't traded back or anything like that yet. But we'll probably go over like specific players who we want in the first and second round next week before the draft, and maybe make our final prediction of who we think we're gonna get. But this one, we're basically more just positions that we would like to see us address. And instead of starting at the first and going all the way down, we're going to start at the bottom and going all the way up. Starting with our 2 7th-round picks. We have number 252 from the Chiefs. We have 242 from the Eagles. Why do we have that one from the Eagles? We also have our 5th round from the Eagles. We have our 6th round from the Eagles. Where are all these picks from? I know 2 of them was for Bayard. I thought that was the 5th and the 6th. Here's what the 7th round pick was. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to pair them together, both of our 7th round picks. I'm just going to go ahead and do both my 7s, and you can do both your 7s. These are people you're just saying, if they go undrafted, there's a chance that someone else could scoop them up before us. So this is somebody who could very well go undrafted that we kind of like more than just your average undrafted. So we're going to go ahead and use one of these last final picks for them. That's where I would like to see. Maybe I should have let you go first because I know my higher up picks more than I know my back end picks. But I think with our 7ths, I would like to see the deep wide receiver class. Give me one wide receiver with some return abilities. Because we still have no returner on our roster at the moment. Because the reason Kyle Phillips can't catch a kickoff or a punt or anything. So a wide receiver with some return ability, and give me a D lineman where you're like, the guy's huge, but he's so stupid raw. And that way we got somebody on the D line. You can maybe fill in for Sebastian Joseph Day when he's tired, and then a wide receiver, back end wide receiver, as well as a have for some return ability.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with one of those. Like you said, 7th round is just a step ahead of undrafted. So I will say when I say these positions, it's not like I'm expecting these to be day one starters. Actually, I don't know if I'm expecting them to be starters at all, to be honest, or even a backup. So, but you just draft these and hopefully they stick. But I'm gonna say wide receiver. I just don't think you can ever have too many receiver options. Maybe you could get someone late round, small school, has potential, turns out to be good, even a decent receiver. That sounds good to me. So I say wide receiver, and I also have safety. We're kind of weak in safety. Maybe we can get one that turns out to be pretty good. So I say wide receiver, safety.
Wide receiver and safety. Yeah, I thought about going safety because I still think, like we were addressed last week, that we need to go after a big name guy, like not necessarily big name, but like Justin Simmons. He would be a big name, but there's also both the safeties for the Seahawks got cut, and so I want to go after somebody proven, a veteran. I guess that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
a veteran.
obviously the safety is not going to be starter. You just hope.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can turn out to be something. If he does, he doesn't. But obviously, I'm not saying the safety's gonna be all new starter.
But like Elijah Molden is at the very end of his Titans tenure, and I wasn't really that impressed with him anyway. So I would agree we need some depth that we can kind of start to groom a little bit. Chris Harris is our DB coordinator, our DB coach, and he's a good one. Okay, do you want to go ahead and go with your sixth overall? Not sixth overall, but sixth round pick, which is pick number 182 acquired from the Bayard trade.
I say God. I think one thing is guards. A lot of times you can get a little bit later. Not sixth round is pretty late, but they're not as sought after as centers and tackles. So maybe you can still have a decent guard out there somewhere. We have Brunskill, but one, he got hurt some last year, so he can replace him if he gets hurt, if he's solid. And offensive line go down a lot anyway, so it never hurts to have maybe some decent players in rotations. So I say guard.
I don't want to be boring, but that's literally what I also had. I say guard. Yeah, like a later round. Obviously, Bill Callahan's the guru of the O-line. So if we can get some late round guy, maybe somebody who's just similar to the defensive line guy I said earlier, where he's just as wide as an ox. Somebody who's just really big, really raw. If you can get this guy technically sound, he could turn into be something. Because you got to think about it. With our guard position, I have no idea who not Corey Levin. I can't believe I said Corey Levin. Peter Skronsky. I have no idea who Peter Skronsky's backup even is right now. There's that. And then there's like a three-way battle between Daniel Brunskill, Dylan Radins, and then Sadiq Charles. But Sadiq Charles, 1-year deal. Brunskill, this is the last year on his deal. And then Radins, is this his last year? Yeah, because he played 21, 22, 23, and 24. So this is his last year. So unless we bring them back, any of those back, which I doubt we will, this is the last year of all those. So we need somebody to be getting accustomed to being able to step in at right guard, because that is going to be a need for us next year, unless we pick somebody good in the 6th round. It turns out to be something. So next, let's go ahead and go up to round 5. Pick number 146 we got from Minnesota through Philadelphia. So I don't remember all this going on.
You going first me.
It's me. But anyways, 5th round, I think this is where we need, that's like our lucky round with middle linebackers, inside linebackers. We got Jayon Brown in the 5th round. We got David Long in the 6th round. So I guess technically 5th round's our lucky round, but you know what I mean.
I would say I think linebacker is a position that you can get a little bit later, and actually, I don't want to say expect, but wouldn't be shocked if they turn out to be decent.
Yeah. And also, it's also the same position that you can draft them in the 1st round, and that's no guarantee that they'll be good. So
running backs is that way too. I think
I agree.
Linebackers might be the best value with the later round pick.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Because yeah, right now we have Jack Gibbons kind of as a starter, K9 kind of as a starter. We have Otis Reese kind of in there in the mix. So we with Monty Rice hitting the road, because he actually got cut last year, in the middle of last year. It was a weird situation. And then Azeez Al-Shire obviously went to the Texans. So we need more people. I think you can find a 5th round athletic freak somewhere in there. Again, it goes back to a lot of these players, you're looking for traits this late in the draft. So find somebody who's like super fast or super quick side to side, sideline to sideline, and see if we can coach them up into something. So middle linebackers who I like to go after in the 5th round.
With me, I say defensive tackle, which I know you already covered defensive tackle. I think defensive tackle, again, in the 5th round, like you said, hopefully a big body. If nothing else, someone maybe can stop the run. I think you can find value, though, because a lot of times the defensive line, the defensive tackle, or ends, the ones that can get quarterbacks go first. And I think maybe in the 5th round, you can still have some, just if nothing else, have people that's value and stopping the run. And you know what? We need that right now. The linebacker core being weak, if we can have some run stoppers, that'd be perfectly fine with me. So maybe we could find some value in the 5th round with a good old run stopper.
Agreed. Now, 5th, 6th, and 7th round, in my opinion, are basically you're hoping just to
exactly, yeah,
just to shock the dark. But our next pick at number 4, you can find day one starters or at least contributors, rotational pieces in the fourth round. So fourth round, this is our original fourth round pick. So it's 106, which means it's a higher fourth round because we sucked last year. So it's a pretty high fourth round pick.
You may go first on that one.
Yep, that's gonna be your turn.
All right, so I got linebacker. I know you had linebacker later. I think you definitely, I think, can find that we talked about. You can get a decent linebacker. Oh, you hope maybe value in the fifth round is what you had yours. So I say early in the fourth round, you can definitely maybe find yourself with a decent linebacker. So I say linebacker in the fourth round. Hopefully he can start. If nothing else, maybe if this year we have the two linebackers we have now, but maybe this guy can take a year under his belt, get some reps in and stuff, and then be good next year. But I think linebacker is our biggest weakness on defense, so I don't think it hurts to throw something else at it. Just another person to see if they can turn out to be anything.
Yeah, I got you. For me, in the fourth round, I'm not 100% sure I love this idea, but we have to try it sometime. So I went edge rusher in the fourth round because Arden Key he's just a rotational piece.
That's a good thinking though, but yeah.
And even I forgot if it was Brian Callahan or Rand Carthon, one of them, saying that Arden Key's a really good situational pass rusher, which is another way of saying you're not a 30 down, you're not a 3 down defensive player. And I would agree. He's good as an explosive guy who comes in there and is your hype guy for a play or two, but he tires out. He tires out quick. He's not used to a full workload. He's he's a rotational rusher. Mm-hmm. So if we can bring somebody in, an edge rusher, the fourth round, who can be better than Rashad Weaver? Because Rashad Weaver, is supposed to be a succession plan, technically still on our roster, but for whatever reason, he just kind of fell out of graces, I feel like, with our defensive staff last year. So who knows, Denard Wilson might like him and he might have a bigger role in this. But even if that's the case, we still like Caleb Murphy, I guess, is our fourth edge rusher, and he's just nothing but a big question mark. So I say fourth round, go after an edge rusher, see if we can give Arden Key somebody at least split reps with him.
That's a good one that I don't have, actually, is edge rusher, but that's a good one. Second round.
Yeah, because no third round pick, because we have William Levis as our quarterback. William Levis, who I was so devastated when we picked. I was not a happy camper. Again, I've said it a million. Yes, he is. But I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. I'm hoping I live to see the days that I regret how I reacted upon hearing.
He definitely is still a question mark, though. We talked about this off air. He's still a question mark. It doesn't I almost feel like some Titan fans, too many Titan fans, are almost like, okay, we got a quarterback. I'm like, do we have a quarterback? We don't know that.
And if we do have a quarterback, do we have a quarterback that can play 17 games without getting hurt?
College, he got hurt. At pros, he got hurt. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But anyway, we'll change the subject. But yeah.
Yeah.
So second round.
Second round. Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Okay. Second round. I'll talk about this later. I was gonna say something, but slightly. It's not really off topic, but slightly off topic. I think we have to go wide receiver.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people say it's redundant. It's like, what if Treylon Burks actually can show up and show off? What if Kyle Phillips is a good slot receiver? And now that Vrabes, who doesn't believe in receivers who can't block, now that he's out of here, what if Kyle Phillips actually does go right in the slot and play amazing? We've already got Calvin Ridley. We've already got DeAndre Hopkins. Do we need a second round wide receiver? One, you can never have enough wide receivers. Two, DeAndre Hopkins, 32 years old when the season starts. Calvin Ridley will turn 30 during the season. If we don't start bolstering, bringing in some other players, some other wide receivers next year, let's say if we don't draft a wide receiver, and then suddenly Calvin Ridley is going to be 30, DeAndre Hopkins walks, our wide receiver room will be awful next year.
Yeah.
So I think we have to address in our first two rounds. And judging by how I think the board's going to fall, I would say we would need to go wide receiver in the second round because the top two guys in Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors are most likely going to be gone at 7. So Roma Dunze, I know a lot of folk really like Roma Dunze, but I do feel like it's Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors are like that, and then Rome, he's here, and then everybody else is down here. In my opinion, well, not just my opinion, it's kind of the general consensus, and I just feel like seven's a little bit of a reach for Roma Dunze, and because of that, I think that's why we wouldn't go wide receiver in the first round, which means I still think we need to address it and address it high. Plus, it's a deep wide receiver class, which is coming more common because of the college football game also changing. But I say all of that to say, I think we can still find us a solid wide receiver in round 2.
I agree. I agree. That's exactly what I have as a wide receiver. Like you said, we are just one offseason away from being, again, just not
Disaster.
a big receiver.
Just disaster. Because it'll be Calvin Ridley as number 1 and Traylon Burks. Back to Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips in their contract years.
If they can even stay healthy. That's the
if
thing.
they can even stay healthy.
Skill aside, I don't know if Kyle Phillips or Traylon Burks can stay healthy, so that's an issue. But yes, and I think you can definitely get still a good receiver. Not maybe a great receiver like Marvin Harrison, obviously, but I think you can get yourself a good receiver in the second round. I mean, AJ Brown was the second round. You know what I mean? So you can get yourself some good receivers. Obviously, they're not most likely going to be turned out as AJ Brown, but if we could get someone good. And hopefully this year they don't have to be on 1 and 2. This year we have a 1 and 2. So get them in here and they can hopefully work on some things. And next year they'll be ready to take off. And
give us about 500 or 600 yards this year as our number 3 option, so they can step into a bigger role.
We have an early second round, right?
So so it's basically just a random first round talent that slid because of runs on certain positions.
I fully expect that we can get a good, I'm not saying even great, but a good receiver on that pick. So we're both on the same page with that one. So first round, I think we're both going to say the same thing, I think. I go first, so I'm going to say just the biggest need we have, tackle. I think first round, I say tackle. I know that's just not very flashy, not very sexy, not very exciting for fans that's wanting splash. We got Peter Skronsky last year. We get, a tackle this year. I know that's 2 years in a row like that, but offensive line is important. And we saw, doesn't matter who our quarterback was last year. If they didn't have time, it just blew everything up. It messed up Derrick Henry, messed up Ryan Tannehill / Will Levis. We need a tackle, and I think if you have a good tackle, I'm not going to say names because I think that our next video will be with that. So I'm not going to say names, but I'm going to say if you had a good tackle, Peter Skronsky and Cushionberry, that's a good 3 right there. That's a really good 3. The other side is a big question about, but that's a good 3 right there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I know that I agree. It's just, again, like you said, the sex appeal is close to 0 on going left guard, next year left tackle. But it is like Dennis Daly, Andre Dillard. I'm forgetting these people's names because I'm trying to block it out. But Dennis Daly, Andre Dillard, and even Jalen Duncan, those 3 was just some of the worst tackle play I've ever seen. It doesn't look like they belong on football rosters. Mm-hmm. It's so bad. Where I'm like, where do we find people that are that bad at left tackle? Because I can remember we've gone against teams where I don't remember what team it was. I think it was not last year, but the year before. I think it was the Texans, where both their starting Texans or Bengals. I know those are very random teams that have nothing in common besides being in the AFC. But where both of their starting tackles were out, and I was thinking, ooh, our edge rushers are going to cook, and they held up. I think we got 1 sack of the whole day. Yeah. I'm thinking, and no matter what no-namers we go against, whoever we decide we're throwing in at left tackle gets eaten alive. Even if they're not allowing sacks, they're allowing hurries and pressures, which makes early throws or bad decision throws, which turns into interceptions. It's awful, and we need a left tackle. It's been a question mark for way too long, because even with Taylor Lewan, who I obviously was solid, he was a solid left tackle, but he had suspensions, ACL tear times 2, and just things like that. So even like the last 3 or 4 years of Taylor Lewan, it's like we technically still had left tackle issues.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to nail this down and not worry about it.
I agree. I wish we did something off season to address tackle, in the sense that something just feels so good if we had a right tackle and left tackle. So it's annoying that we're going to get a left tackle, and that right tackle still sucked probably. But
that's the one thing I was going to say. That was kind of slightly off topic, but maybe not really. What would you think if, this is probably not going to happen because teams for whatever reason just don't do stuff like this. If we want left tackle in round 1, right tackle in round 2.
You know, I would almost be okay. Actually, I might just be okay with that. I know our receiving core is going to suck next year unless we do something, that we don't. Trades and stuff's always a possibility. But that'd be nice if we can just fix that offensive line. Daniel Brunskill could, or the right tackle in the second round, could be, just say if Daniel Brunskill is your worst offensive line, you got a good offensive line, in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he was our second best offensive lineman last year.
So I'm like, gosh, what was a weakness last year? And here's the thing: if we have a good offensive line, that could really help our receivers anyway. They might just gonna have an extra second to get open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And here's the thing: if we were to do that, I like DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley as 1 and 2. That would mean we need to aggressively pursue either free agent or in the draft wide receivers in 2025.
Mhm.
Like that immediately becomes our biggest need.
Yep.
Unless Will Levis is an absolute bust, then quarterback's our biggest need. But we're just gonna not even speak that into existence.
Yeah.
But that was what we would need to do. But if we could come away with this deep tackle class and we get a left tackle in the first round, right tackle in the second.
It's crazy just the thought of being excited about that. But I'm still thinking, man, if we did that, that would be a good offensive line.
I'll say if they hit.
Yeah, if they hit. Yeah.
Obviously,
we could get Isaiah Wilson.
I mean, technically, yeah, we could get another Isaiah
Wilson.
Wilson.
What a whole pick.
Yeah, what a waste. Isaiah Wilson, Caleb Farley.
He was a big dude. Like I looked at him like, man, he could at least been a good run blocker.
Doesn't see the football field.
The thing about him is, I don't know it was even a skill thing. I think it could have been just a complete attitude problem.
Yep. Thought the world was against him for no reason. I'm like, no, they say here's things you're allowed to do as a player and not allowed to do. And he'd be like, oh, cool. He would do the things anyway. And then they'd punish him. And then he'd say, the world's out against me. Everyone's against me. What an idiot.
What an idiot. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, but I guess that's it. That's what position-wise, what we think we ought to do in this 2024 draft. We are counting down the days, less than 2 weeks.
I want to keep this list. I just want to see how close it's going to be. But anyway.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm going to have my mental list. If nothing else, I can go back and check it. But yeah, we'll see if Frank Carthon does the right thing or not. Hopefully he does. But got anything else before we get out of here?
Nope, I do not. We have one more video before the big day. And like I said, I think that one we'll talk maybe the first and second more detailed names and stuff like that. Exciting times. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, though, I feel like it's taking forever to get to this draft. So excited for it.
Yeah, I feel like it got close quick because of free agency, but then after free agency, I feel like everything was getting signed, everyone was getting signed, then boom, it just stopped.
Yeah.
And basically nobody's getting signed by any team, hardly. And ever since that happened, my eyes have been on the draft, and it has been slow ticking. I do agree.
Yeah. Well, less than 2 weeks away, though. So.
Less than 2 weeks away. So.
And will we be making a video
Thursday night?
Yeah, because
as soon as the pick happens.
I'm off the next day, so I can stay up as late as you need me to. So hopefully,
yeah.
7th round, like we don't have to wait till the first round's over if you want to.
As soon as we make our pick, I'm probably gonna be.
Who knows? Maybe we might be even downhill. Just
honestly, yeah. If we were smart, we'd go ahead and just video call each other and be just watching on our phones, waiting. So yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do.
All thing would be live. Not as live as live can be without being live.
Correct.
Pretty fast. Boom.
Correct.
Anyway.
Let's. It does sound like fun. I wish I could take the day off, make a day out of it, but
I thought about the same thing asking you, and then I'm like, the things I get off before. Oh, wait a second. What time do you think our draft would be? Will you be still working? Do you think you'll be off?
It starts at 7. So my guess they'll get to our pick around 7:30, 7:40. Actually, no, it's 10 minutes per round, isn't it? Yeah. So it's probably pushing 8 o'clock before it's actually time for us to pick. So I would hope I'll be home.
But sometimes the first couple picks is boom, 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 boom.
Guess we'll see, won't we?
Yes, we will. Right. Anyway, that this is stuff we usually talk about behind, like off the camera. But here we are.
True. We're kind of live planning right here for everybody's enjoyment. So, but anyways, I guess that is officially all we have. So thanks for checking us out. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing, and all that good stuff. And we will be sure to see you in the next video. Peace. Bye.